Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Rush Roots. Today we have Jesse Waldron. He is Mr. Stick Hits himself. I'm sure if you're watching Rush fans, you probably also watch Stick Hits on YouTube and all of the videos that Jesse has remastered. So it's pretty awesome to be able to talk to you, and we're going to learn all about, kind of how you got into the band and your Rush preferences with your Rush roots. So Jesse is from just outside of Vancouver. British Columbia in Canada, and so as many Canadians as we can get on and learn about their Rush origin story, the better. So,
Absolutely.
Jim,
Yeah,
Well,
take
I
it away.
appreciate you guys having me on and look forward to
Absolutely,
chatting.
sounds
yeah,
good.
awesome, man. All right, well, let's start with how. Tell us how you heard about Rush, what got you into the band, and what keeps you around.
Okay, so my first memory of Rush would have been hearing Tom Sawyer on the radio, of course. I
Yeah,
wish I had a more unique story. Um, I remember where I was turning, sitting in the passenger seat of my dad's truck, making a left at Oakland Street when the drum solo hit. And it was probably one of the first times that I really, up until then, I just kind of listened to what all the other kids were listening to early 2000s pop radio stuff. So I had no experience as a musician or anything like that, really. Um, but that was really the first time I kind of had to stop and think about what I just heard, just because it was so mind blowing hearing that solo. And
oh yeah.
I asked my dad who the band was, and he knew, of course, because he grew up here, and pretty much every Canadian dad likes classic rock.
Every Canadian dad likes Rush.
and
Oh
so
my God.
that led to a second incident. Um, so we went to this
Incident.
party out, a New Year's party out in White Rock, which is almost an hour south towards the border, and they had Rock Band set up, which was brand new at the time. It was the first time I'd seen it. I'm not even sure if I had heard of it before. And I walked in, and somebody was, well, four people, I guess, were playing Tom Sawyer, and I was just kind of blown away at the coincidence because it was just days after I'd heard it on the radio. So I didn't really know many people though, so I kind of stayed in the corner and watched for a while, and eventually the drummer got up to go get a drink or something, and I took my chance and sat down and played through it on easy. Probably failed out at some point, but that's probably where the seed was planted, and it was all downhill from there, as they say.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
uphill,
yeah.
all uphill from there.
Well, actually, that very night, the host of the party, a family friend, he had a drum set that he had put away in his shed at least 15, 20 years earlier when he got married. His wife wasn't a fan. So
Mm.
he just happened to ask me if I guess I was talking about drumming or maybe wanting to start drumming. And it was like 3 in the morning and we were trying to leave. And he starts hauling it out of this shed
Oh my
in the pitch
gosh.
black and told me I could borrow it. So I brought it home, and probably took me about 6 months to actually set it up properly and figure it out. It was a Rogers kit. It was like a super
Oh,
vintage Rogers kit. So I mean, just trying
nice.
to figure out which side of the bass drum the pedal goes on, and it was
Yeah.
completely down to the rivets basically. So yeah, from there I just kind of saved up money and kept upgrading my kit, kind of buying, swapping parts on Craigslist, trying to get
Hmm.
closer and closer to the Neil replica that still isn't close 15 years later, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's really what turned me on to drumming. I can really credit Rush to that,
Hmm.
and that kind of um, split off into everything else music related in my life. So, yeah, I really owe Rush a big thank you for that because the course of my life was totally changed, you know, found new friends with similar interests and
Yeah.
went to the first show I could, Time Machine Tour, Rogers Arena. And yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
That's awesome. Yeah. So your first show was Time Machine. So did you get to see any other shows after
Yeah,
that?
I saw.
Because
So I saw after Time Machine, I saw they made the announcement for Clockwork Angels live, but it was only the first leg of the tour, I guess. I don't know if you know. Sometimes when big bands like that, they'll post their tour, and it seems like they're saying that's the whole tour, but then partway through it, they'll all of a sudden just double the size of the tour and add all these cities. So
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
think they were coming to Vancouver. So
Oh.
and they were going to Seattle. So I basically just forced my dad to take me, my brother, and one of my friends down there. And then I think it was like literally 8 or 9 days later that I got the Facebook ad that all the new tour dates, including Vancouver, and it's here. So I'm not gonna not go again.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah, those shows were great. And then I saw R40, of course, the last stop in Vancouver,
Yeah.
which was a really amazing show as well.
Oh yeah.
All of them
Yeah.
were really, like I don't know if I'll ever see another show like any of those shows in my lifetime. It's a little bit sad, but
Yeah.
that's why we have video and audio.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
why we have you. Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Well,
remaster all
I
these.
do it for myself first and foremost. So that's the funny thing. I mean, it really just is. If there was no YouTube, I'd probably still do a lot of it just to be able to watch it back on a big screen and a good sound system.
Yeah.
Which is not really a normal thing to do, I guess, but I just really like the band, so
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's funny you say the thing about the Clockwork Bears. The same thing happened to me. I went and saw them, I think, in New Jersey in October, and then it was announced there was two more dates, and then there was, two dates that were actually closer than that show to me in upstate New York. But yeah, same thing happened to me. But all right, so the next question I have, it's kind of learn. You mentioned Tom Sawyer, so that was your introduction to the band. But I kind of want to know your evolution in terms of your preferences, like what your favorites were kind of at the beginning of your fandom versus kind of where you're at now. So if you can tell us
sure.
your favorite song and favorite album when you first got into the band, and then now as a diehard fan, obviously it's hard to name just one or two, but if you can kind of tell us, if you have a favorite song or favorite album now, if not, what would be your fallback nowadays?
Sure. I'll try to keep it more compact this time. So yeah, obviously Moving Pictures kind of came first with Tom Sawyer. Although the first CD I got was it was a birthday present. It was Rush Gold, which I believe is Walmart's version of the greatest hits, if
I
I'm not
think
Okay.
mistaken.
I think so. Yeah.
Double disc set, and it had a pretty good selection. I think I still have it around, but it's shattered and destroyed just from the miles it's traveled at this point, sadly. So I'd love to pick up
Yeah.
another copy, but that really gave me a nice taste of everything, because I think that album was one song off each album or something like that. It was a special track list. It wasn't just a kind of a random selection.
Look at that.
That's the one. Beautiful.
Yeah. Cool.
Am I correct about that on the track listing there? I can't remember what the deal was with that. I could be wrong, but
Well, I believe it only went to 87. Yeah, it only went to Hold Your Fire. But yeah, it was
okay.
14
Well,
songs and then 15 songs. So
At that age, I probably didn't know Rush existed beyond that anyway, so I didn't know any better.
so it's
But
disc one is from Spirit of Radio backwards in time. No, it isn't. Wait a second. Working Man is last. It's sort of backwards in time, and then on disc two, yeah, no, never mind. That's not even
kind of a
close.
weird. It was a weird
It's
track
all
list.
it's
That's
all
all I
randomized. Yeah,
remember. But
it's
yeah,
all hits. Yeah.
so that gave
But
me the
you-
greatest
yeah.
hits off the bat, and trying to think what the first actual album I think it was Exit Stage Left on CD at a CD
Nice.
shop in Victoria. And it was also the video that was really the most consumed piece of Rush content for me for a few years. I remember finding it online like 2008 or 9, just before I was out of high school, and had it on a USB and played it off my PlayStation. So probably watched that like 1,000 times and was just blown away. And it's funny because I found it recently, and looking back now, it's in like 240p, and you can't even make anything out, and the sound is just awful. But at the time, it was like incredible.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it just goes to show how you can become such a snob over the years, and just notice all these faults that nobody else is seeing. That's something that I try to keep in mind when I'm working
Yeah.
on projects. So fast forward to more recently, it took me a long time to warm up post signals, I guess, which is kind of stereotypical. Like Race Under Pressure to me at the time sounded kind of like this weird 80s experimental thing I couldn't define, and pretty much everything after that. But then kind of one by one, it was like once a year I'd kind of move up one album and be like, okay, this isn't actually that bad. This is pretty good. And yeah, it it really was in kind of chronological order, except when Clockwork Angels came out, I really loved that album. I picked it up right away. And then after that, I think Presto and Roll the Bones were probably the two last ones I explored.
Hmm.
So really kind of a boring Rush evolution, like a
Ah.
Wikipedia copy paste type thing. But it was honest. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess just have your average Rush taste, mainstream taste.
No, it's
And
perfect.
for your second question, my favorite song I think will always be Xanadu, mainly because of the
Yeah.
video version, which
Yeah.
is probably my most watched video of anything. I mean, I still watch my own upload of it every couple nights just to check in and see how it's doing, make sure everything's still how I left it. Um, yeah, man, that version was like the first really profound music that I heard in my life, really, if I think about it. And top 5, kind of always rotating, of course, as I'm sure you guys have the same
Yep.
thing. I
Yep.
always really loved Free Will, um, even though it's considered a hit. I always thought it was like a little under. I don't hear it talked about that often. Like
Mm.
if you compare it to Spirit of Radio, for example, you'll hear that mentioned a lot more than Free Will. But I always thought Free Will was incredible, like top 3 song. And Tom Sawyer never got old for me as a drummer. Kind of like
Yeah.
Neil said in the documentary, when you have a song that's that hard and demanding, um, it does take decades to truly get it right. And I'd be lying if I said, after 15 years, I could just walk over and nail it. But I hope one day I'll be able to, do a proper cover that and do him justice. Um,
Yeah.
and then I'm trying to think of a couple lesser hit songs that I'm a fan of. I really like a Ghost of a Chance,
Mm-hmm.
Alex's solo near the end, and
Yep.
let's see, Earthshine as well. Is a recent one that
Mm.
I had never really listened to a lot, and then I saw the R30 version, and I really liked that. And then
It's
I
phenomenal.
saw
Yep.
the Iowa video that I posted recently was amazing for just a crowd shot version, especially Getty. So I'm really starting to appreciate that era more now because yeah, for years I really didn't touch it. I was kind of overwhelmed with what was already available. I didn't feel the need to even explore beyond that. So That's the great thing about Rush, the depth of their catalog, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Well,
awesome, man.
yeah. So I think people already kind of know where they can find you. That would be StickHits on YouTube. So thanks for doing this with us. And if you're interested in seeing some remastered, versions of old Rush songs from concert footage, Jesse is your man. StickHits on YouTube. If you have any interest in sharing your own Rush roots, your own story, please feel free to reach out to us, rushfans at rushfans.net, and we'll have you on. This is, of course, season 3. We'll have you on for season 4. Yeah, we will wrap with that. Jesse, thanks again for doing this. And
Thanks a lot, guys. That was fun. And yeah,
Yeah.
for all of my YouTube subscribers, I will be uploading something tonight. Hopefully, it was supposed to be up in time for this, and I was gonna say what it was, but there was
well,
a few.
this will go up in like a couple of weeks, so it'll be. I'm sure it'll be.
Oh, okay, we're good
yeah,
then.
we're good then.
Just
We're good then.
scrub
Yeah.
that.
We'll
All
plug it
right.
now because it'll be up. Well, what are you uploading?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
the Subdivision's music video, but I
Music
remixed it
video. Cool. Okay.
from the multi tracks. So that it's kind of a first for me because I've never really done any studio stuff. So I wanted to give that a try. So
Awesome.
yeah, you'll be able to see
Yeah.
it tonight. I'll send it to you when it's finished. I already sent you a little sample earlier, but yeah, and then a show of hands right after that, as everybody has been waiting for. And apologies to everybody that has been waiting for a show of hands for 6 months, as I keep saying it's almost done, because it really is almost done, but there's been a lot of technical issues that have slowed it down. So we're like 98% of the way there, and it will be there, I promise.
Good stuff. All right. Well,
Awesome.
check out Jesse's channel, StickHits, for subdivisions and a show of hands upcoming. So yeah, we'll wrap there. Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this. Take care,
Thanks a
everyone.
lot, guys. Talk to you later.